So in 2025, it's pretty much non-negotiable that if you want to grow a business that is sustainable, kind of builds a moat around it where no one can copy what you're doing, you need to build a personal brand. And if you need to build a personal brand, you need to produce content. And a lot of people, myself included, have struggled with being creative enough to where that content feels good, moves the needle, and actually drives the business forward. And so today's video, we're going to talk about if you are struggling to be creative, if you don't have a system around it, you need to watch this video because this is exactly what I do to make sure not only can I just count on creativity every single day, but when I'm in that space of deep work or creating or whatever it is, that I can produce maximum output and get weeks and weeks of content done in a single sitting. So if you're wondering who the hell I am and why you should listen to me, my name is Colby Wechter. I've been building a personal brand over the last couple of years, even though I didn't even realize I was doing it, but I got my start on LinkedIn and I've been in the digital marketing world for 12 years, going on 13, 9 of which as a global top 1,000 agency owner. And now I help other agency owners go from completely stressed out, working over 50 hours a week, stuck at 6 figures, to 7 figures, working 30 hours per week. And building a personal brand is a fantastic way to help accelerate that growth. And it's pretty fun, so long as you have the tools to be creative. Let's actually dive into what we're gonna cover today. First of all is what is the big problem with being creative? We're basically gonna break this down in a couple of different ways. So we're gonna talk about a couple of mentality issues when it comes to being creative that I had to personally overcome, and I know several people I talk to every single day are trying to overcome. And then we're gonna talk about 2 systems that I use that make sure that I'm not stuck with just a blank page wondering, what the hell do I do? First thing, mentality-wise, the big problem is that when it comes to being creative, we get so stuck into comparing ourselves. We look at everyone else. What are they doing? What is the big thing right now? And it's as simple as like, what sort of captions are they using? What is their opening hook? What is the lighting in the room? All these sorts of things. And we just get so lost, and there's a million different things that you want to do that you end up not creating anything, and you think it's not perfect enough. Whatever it is, you don't press record, you don't write the words, you don't press publish. And that's a big problem because done is better than perfect. And so what we realize is that if we are so focused on making something amazing, that we actually end up doing less. And the equation is really, really simple. Every single week when I talk to my team of editors, they have this moment where they want it to be better, but they just are gonna have to spend too much time to get it there. And so I tell them weekly, here's the equation. We're just starting out with this personal brand. Autonomy Agency, my company, is only a couple months old as of recording. The equation is really, really simple. The equation is not be a top 1% creator. The equation is behave like a top 1% creator. And top 1% creators, if you look at, say, my Instagram profile with creator I admire like Tom Nosky, the difference is massive. I have like 50 posts on Instagram right now because I'm just getting started, and Tom has over 1,000. And so the only thing I care about is how can I produce done better than perfect to catch up to that 1,000 posts. Tom, as an example, is where he's at now because he just put consistency around it. He just pressed record, he just pressed publish, and there is his result. He's now made over 7 figures in the last 12 months alone. If you're stuck feeling like, I need to be more creative, I need more to compete, I need the perfect microphone, I need the perfect camera, I need the perfect lighting, all that sort of stuff, nobody cares. And that's the second point, is that quality is important, but it should never be a preventative from you actually doing these things. And it's this thing called the spotlight perspective. If you think that you press publish and your number one concern is, what are people gonna think of it? What are people gonna say? What if no one sees it and it just falls flat? All of that is based on fear. The spotlight perspective is fear. We think that everyone is watching us. We think that everyone cares. But if I asked you to tell me exactly what you had for lunch 2 Tuesdays ago, you would have no clue what the answer is. That is exactly how people are every single day. They don't even remember that much information about their own lives. So they're definitely not paying attention to you that much. So don't worry about it and just produce. If all of that makes sense thus far and you say, well, that doesn't really help me be creative, that just helps me press publish, totally get it. So what helps me be creative? It's pretty straightforward, actually. What I looked at is that every single time I was staring at a blank page, I was stuck in my own thoughts. I didn't have a reference point. And so I got into this wonderful thing called swipe files, and I'll show it up on my screen right here. Swipe files basically are any possible thing I can see online that I draw inspiration from and want to swipe or save for later. Now, every single platform you are crawling right now will have the ability for you to save posts. You can save posts on Instagram, you can save them on LinkedIn, you can share them to other people, whatever it is. My favorite mechanism is putting that all in one place. And as you can see from my Notion doc up here, that I have all these different categories. I have video sales letters, I have landing pages, I have newsletters, I have YouTube videos, I have YouTube thumbnails, all these different things that I want to save, because when it comes time for me to actually produce my own information, I want to pull what I've already been inspired by and then make it my own. And that's a note, by the way, never steal. You may take inspiration from, but don't copy and paste. So swipe files are incredibly helpful. Every time I have a blank page, the first thing I do is I go to swipe files. If I'm wanting to write a newsletter and I just can't think of what I want to write about, I go to my newsletter swipe files. If I want to produce a YouTube video like this one and I'm not sure what to title it, I'll go to my YouTube thumbnails and titles and see what that's about. So I draw inspiration every single day from swipe files, so I don't have to think of stuff on the fly. Almost nothing is invented anymore. It's just been reiterated upon. One of my favorite quotes is that we're not creators, we're synthesizers. So we just pull information from elsewhere and then we present it again in a different way. The other system I use, and I would highly, highly, highly encourage you not to scoff at this, because everything is possible if you want to make it so, is putting time in theming your weeks to create. So for instance, I'm recording this video right now because, as I'll show my calendar, it is YouTube week. Everything in yellow on my calendar is a needle mover, right? I'm only recording YouTube videos this week. I'm not writing content. I'm not sending email newsletters. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I did newsletters all of last week. So I wrote an entire month's worth of content for my newsletters in a single week. I'm doing all the videos I do for YouTube in a single week. Next week, I'm going to do all the reels I do for Instagram in a single week. If you want to produce content, you need to set time aside for content, and don't just say, I want to produce content. Make it more specific. If you're going to do reels, I want to do reels. If you're only on one platform, for example, then make it even more micro, right? If you're going to do reels, then maybe an entire week is dedicated to researching reels. Then the entire week is dedicated to the thumbnails for reels. Then you're recording the reels, and then it's the captions for reels. And you just do all of this on a weekly basis, and you do an entire month's worth. Each time you're just bulk getting things in, and then you're creating a habit around actually creating content. And it's a lot easier to be creative when you know what to expect, rather than just starting every day with, how am I going to be creative today? Don't ask that question. So, are these incredibly simple? Absolutely. Will they help you? Absolutely. Don't reinvent the wheel. If you are stuck wondering why you're not as creative, it's because you're trying to do it all alone. Go find inspiration every time you're scrolling or doom scrolling. See it as a high leverage activity. I'm not doom scrolling just to rot my brain. I'm doom scrolling to get inspiration, and everything that inspires me, I will save and categorize. Start there, and then when it comes time to create content, theme those out so you can count on it, be predictable about it, and then do it. Press record, press publish. No one's watching you. Have fun with it. I hope this video helps. We'll see you in the next one.